Now it's the most provocative and interesting evening, I believe, is drawing near to the end. I wanted to come back around to the beginning and to the fact that just a few blocks away we have the Council on American Islamic Relations having a so-called summer night for civil rights. And they charge us with being hateful. And yet we have a whole row full here of people who have suffered and whose friends and family have suffered at the hands of the people that they're defending and the people that they're fronting for. And so it's important, of course, that we do go on record and say, of course, that we are not racists and bigots and Islamophobes and all that nonsense. But it's even more important that we move from the defensive to the offensive. The people who are not standing with us today, the people who are opposed to what we are doing today, are running interference, are carrying water for a monstrous evil and oppression. And we have to call them out on it. And we're calling them out on it by having this here tonight. And it is up to us to go back to where we are, to our families and to our co-workers, and to take that same message to them. That to stand against Islamic law is to stand for human rights, human dignity, and human freedom. Call our politicians to account every time they repeat those deceptions, every time they fall for those deceptions and collaborate with the deceivers. And to make them pay in November for every time they've done. In the sane world, the United States government would be standing up and saying, you're not going to allow people to convert away from Islam and you're not getting any American aid.
That's it.
You're going to brutalize women who take off the hijab, not a cent from the United States. You're going to allow honor murderers to have lighter sentences if they can convince you that they have killed for honor rather than just some ordinary murder? Then we're out of here. That is a sane foreign policy. And there is no candidate right now who is calling for that. And there's no candidate right now who's calling for that because there's no candidate right now who thinks that there's any political reward for doing so. And so that's up to us to make sure that they know that if they don't stand for the human rights of these people and everybody else like them, that they're going to hear from us. So thank you all again very much for coming, and Pamela has a few closing remarks.
First, I want to thank this panel. I want to thank you for your courage. I hold you in an enormous high regard. I know how difficult it is for you to come. I know how difficult it is for you to speak. I know it puts you at great personal risk. I want to thank everyone for sitting through it. It's not easy. These are not professional speakers. You must force the dialogue. You must force the dialogue. You must bring the dialogue to the fore. You must do something every day. Every day of your life. When you wake up in the morning, you rub the sleep from your eyes. You say, what am I going to do today to save the Republic? I mean, from here, from LA, I have to be in Cincinnati. I have to be in Cincinnati because even though Dearborn lost the case when I sued because they wouldn't run the bus ads that helped you escape Islam, I won. And they still wouldn't run my ads. As if the judge was going to reverse herself a week later, like, oh, I was wrong. So it's now at the Supreme Court level, the state Supreme Court level. Where better would those ads be but in Dearborn? Hello? I'll be in Cincinnati fighting. We're fighting now. You know, I'm suing the MTA in New York City. Because they were running anti-Israel ads to stop aid to Israel. It said U.S. aid to Israel was an impediment to peace. Right. So we submitted our Israel ads, which said, in any war between the civilized man and the savage, you side with the civilized man. Support Israel, defeat jihad, but they wouldn't run the ad because the word savage was demeaning to savages. The point I'm trying to make is, it's August 4th, we're going to be in Stockholm on the anniversary of a jihadist attack that detonated early. I don't know if you recall, in Stockholm, the bomb went off. We'll be marching with our sister organizations, our Stop Islamization of Europe, France, Denmark, Mars, okay? And then on 9/11, on September 11th, we're holding the first World Freedom Conference at the UN Plaza, with voices of freedom from all over the world, because the Organization of Islamic Cooperation is seeking to impose these restrictions on free speech across the world, because we do have an Islamophilic president who, for the first time in U.S. history, co-sponsored a resolution at the UN to restrict free speech. If you can be in New York on 9/11, please be there, because they are seeking to co-opt the narrative on 9/11. No longer is it a day of the largest, most heinous, bloody attack on American soil. It's now a day of service. Okay? Yeah, I'm telling you, they just instituted a curriculum in the public schools where it's all about service. And I saw on Facebook all the college students like, what are you going to do for your day of service? No. 9/12, 9/10. 9/11 is not a day of service. 9/11 is a day of mourning. Yes. We never There are people in this room working on various projects. I want to just point out Eric Bell, who's working on fighting the Murfreesboro. It's 53,000 square feet of a town with, there are 45 paying families of the Islamic Center in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Okay? So you have to support this kind of work. You have to, there are people working, everybody on this panel. I mean, Wally, you're amazing. You do amazing work. And what they do is they libel, they smear, and they defame the most effective fighters against Sharia and jihad are the ones on the receiving end of the most abuse. And I take abuse now because we're living in a moral...
Love you, ma'am.
Then even Mark's going to make fun of me. But I take the abuse, because we live in a morally inverted world, as a compliment. The more they hate me, the more I feel good about myself. Anyway, there are books. You have books for sale, yes. Many of our former Muslims and ex-Muslims have books. My book, Stop Islamization of America, A Practical Guide to the Resistance, is outside. I'm happy to sign. There's a petition in the back. There's a woman in the back, she's holding up, she's got a white little flag, yes, to bring the anti-Sharia legislation, foreign law prohibition, to California. Read jihadwatch.org, atlasshrugs.com for jihadi news, because let me tell you something, there is a blackout in the media. The media is self-enforcing the Sharia. They will not criticize Islam. Nancy? Oh my God, and there is a wonderful organization here who has DVD'd this whole event, and you know there are some salient moments here that you're going to want to share with all your friends. You're going to have like a little, make some cosmopolitan, some martinis, you're going to have yourself a little Sharia party, okay? I'm serious, buy the DVD, help support the work. There really is no money on our side. We have security, these people have death threats. It's an enormous undertaking, but take something away from this. Take something away from this. Do something. You can make it happen. Believe me, the world is on your shoulders. Saving the world is on your shoulders. It's a heavy responsibility. But what else better you have to do?